I think I'm on, right? All right, I'm on. I'll treat it like I'm on. All right, so let's do that one more time. So it's A, happy Monday. B, and most importantly, when we're talking about our detailed Colorado weather forecast, is we are looking at finally much calmer winds. Oh, right, not having those 40-mile-an-hour, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts blowing your face. It's way nicer out there. So it is a little cool today. Highs are only may not even hit 60 degrees here in Denver, but it'll feel, again, way better than even last Friday when we were in the 80s when we had those really strong winds as well. Big warm-up this week, but the winds gradually return this week, starting a little bit tomorrow, but more in earnest for your Wednesday. But before I get to that, get some more good news for you. This pretty decent snowstorm for our friends up in the mountains. Near Woodland Park, 17 inches worth of snow. Not bad for your April the 25th. A foot for us in Breckenridge and Fairplay. About 11 inches for us. So South Park on west into the Collegiate Peaks did really well from this storm, as well as on down here into Dumont, Aspen Springs, picking up 9.2 inches. So a pretty good snowstorm for us in the mountains. And by the way, those totals I just showed you were just over the last 24 hours. You couple what we got back on Friday and on Saturday in the mountains, and some spots picked up 2 feet plus worth of snowfall over the last 3 days, and that is certainly some good news to pass along. And it's still snowing a little bit for us in the northern mountains. This will gradually dissipate as we head through the day, but still a little snow trapped on up into the mountains up by Rocky Mountain National Park, and a few flakes possible for us along I-70. We did have some earlier flakes around Raton Pass and Trinidad for our friends in southern Colorado, but that is dissipating as we speak. Today, temperatures rise on up near 60 degrees here in Denver. It is a light wind. Enjoy it. Perfect for an evening stroll. I know what you guys got going on. Tonight, I actually have not to brag, I have a rec league soccer game tonight, and I'm looking forward to those 5 to 15 mile an hour winds. That is way better than those 30, 40 plus mile an hour winds that we were dealing with last week. But we do get some of those back later on this week, unfortunately. Forecast highs today, 50s, 60s, eastern plains, 40s and 50s as you head on up into the mountains. So generally speaking, it's actually about 5 to 10 degrees below average. Denver, average high for today around 65 degrees. So we're running a little below average, but again, no complaints with that light wind. Tonight, temperatures drop back into the mid-30s. Mentioned this during the noon show. Look at that for you. That sunset, 7:47, end of next week. So about a little less than 2 weeks out. We're going to be talking about 8 p.m. sunsets. That starts at the beginning of May. So that is something to look forward to as well. And by the way, seasonably cool for us. But again, 35, you certainly need the jacket as you head out and about this evening. Tomorrow, maybe no jacket for us with a high in the mid-70s for us. And it's thanks to those southerly winds. They do start to crank a little bit. We could see some gusts during the afternoon up by 20 miles an hour along the Palmer Divide, south side of Denver, but I think most of us will still be looking at pretty light winds, but it's that southerly wind that'll bring up those temperatures into the mid-70s. Some spots here in southeast Colorado, Lamar, 81, a lot of 70s, some low 80s for us along the eastern plains, 40s, 50s, and 60s as you head on up, and that's except for some of those lower elevation spots like Grand Junction and Cortez, where we're talking about mid-70s for us as we get into the day tomorrow. So not bad at all for this time of year. We're going to be above average pretty much statewide for your day tomorrow. But with that southerly wind and in southern Colorado, some stronger winds, we do have a fire weather watch that's in effect for your day tomorrow, and that is probably, unfortunately, going to be the beginning of what's going to be a high fire danger week for much of the state for much of this week. Wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour in the San Luis Valley on east into southeastern Colorado, as well as the southwestern corner of the state. So forecast winds as we kind of walk you through your day tomorrow. Southeast Colorado, that's where we could see some of those gusts on up, maybe around 40 miles an hour, maybe 45 in a few spots tomorrow afternoon. Strong enough to increase that fire danger. But the Denver area, I think those winds stay pretty light for us. That's some good news, at least here in the Denver area, northeast Colorado, where we saw some very strong winds Friday and Saturday. Those winds should be pretty light, pretty tame for us for your day tomorrow. But by Wednesday, watch these winds start to crank back up again. Yeah, I know. We can't really seem to catch a break, can we, from these winds? It's a bit more, I'd say, breezy, maybe not quite full-on windy on your Wednesday, but Thursday and Friday, those winds, unfortunately, really rev on up. It looks like, in particular, Friday could be a pretty windy day for us here in the Denver area and throughout eastern Colorado. So Friday, and I think Saturday, those winds stick around as well for us here in eastern Colorado. So Friday, Saturday, it's windy. It does cool on down. Maybe some showers here Friday night, Saturday morning. We're going to leave it out for now, but there's a chance we do get a little bit of wet weather for us Friday night, Saturday. We would certainly love that. but unfortunately it's more of the same, this persistent pattern. And this is the question I get all the time here, folks. My fiance, my friends on the soccer team all ask me this question. Why has it been so windy and why has it been so dry for so long? So the quick answer is there's really two things at play. One is we've had an exceptionally strong jet stream all month long. And normally April is a windy month, and that's thanks to what's normally a strong jet stream. So this is normally a windy time of year, and it's normally thanks to, again, that jet stream, the narrow ribbon of winds about 30,000 feet up that dictates a lot of our weather. It's been running pretty strong. So that's one part of it, but this is the main factor that's at play. Our storms keep staying just to our north. So when storms stay off to our north, we don't get any of the rain or snow, at least here in Denver and along the Front Range. We don't get any of the beneficial rain or snow that we would want to see from those storm systems. All we get the pressure gradient. We get the difference between the high and the low pressure. That's wind. Wind is air that flows from high to low pressure. And think about this with weather. A little weather 101 for you. When you're talking about weather, weather is just Mother Nature. It is planet Earth evening itself out. So when you've got really low pressure somewhere, you got really high pressure somewhere else. And so that air has to go somewhere, right? If you got really high pressure on the surface and you got really low pressure somewhere else, that air is going to naturally flow from high to low pressure. Again, that evening, that balancing act that planet Earth is constantly doing. Well, again, when you got low pressure way up there and you got high pressure off to our south, we're in between. And so we just get the wind from that. And the results, well, it's dry and it's windy. And that's the way it's been just all month long. We just can't get rid of this pattern. And unfortunately, I don't see anything much that flips this. And by the way, another fact, this is a little depressing for us here, but so far this month at DIA, we've picked up exactly 1/100th of an inch of precipitation so far this month. That makes it our driest start to April on record, right? So that's one part of it. The other part of it is that April is normally our fourth wettest month of the year. So normally this is a fairly wet time of the year for us here in Denver. May is our wettest month of the year. So the longer we go with this kind of drought and this kind of dry streak, the more and more nervous I get. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we still have time to flip this. June is also typically, especially the beginning of June, it's a pretty wet time of the year as well for us. So we can make this up. We can get a good couple of rainstorms in here, a couple of storms in play that do put a dent in our drought. But the longer we go here, folks, the more nervous I get that we're going to be looking at a real gap in that moisture. And that would mean, unfortunately, a pretty nasty summer in terms of fires and fire danger. So that in mind, this is the other factor at play. Our average wind speed at DIA has been 13 miles an hour, a little over that since April the 1st. That makes it our strongest April to date wind speed on record. Of course, DIA records only go back to 1997. So last 25 years, it's our strongest April to date wind speed. And as I mentioned earlier, April is usually our windiest month of the year. And we've had no snow since March the 17th. By the way, if we don't get any more snow, this would be our earliest last snow on record, if that makes sense. So normally our last snow of the season somewhere in late April. If we don't get any more snow this season, our snow season would end on March 17th, which would be our earliest on record. We've only had 12 snowless Aprils. And by the way here, folks, it's looking more and more likely we're going to finish April snow-free. In fact, that's almost near lock. And it's looking more and more likely that we may have already seen our last snow of the season, which is stunning that it would end on March the 17th. So hopefully that clears things on up. I know that's a lot of negativity there, but the positive side of things, the mountains did pretty well from the snow. The storm system got a fair bit of snow up that way. And there's a chance, at least a chance, for some rain on your Friday and your Saturday. And we got light winds today and tomorrow in the Denver area. Hey, have a great rest of your day. I'm Meteorologist Chris Bianchi. And again, we'll see you back here on 9 News at 4 o'clock.